it's Elise here at Bowman Library in our children's room with a whole new middle grade book spotlight. So for this week, we are taking a look at one of my favorite genres, and that would be mysteries. And here's what I love about the mystery genre. Just like how a couple weeks ago we talked about science fiction and about how there are so many different types of science fiction, that goes for mysteries. There are so many different types of mysteries out there. And there's mysteries that are fantasy, there are mysteries that are science fiction, there's mysteries that are historical, there's mysteries that are just like the classic whodunit. That is what is amazing about this genre, because there is literally something for everyone. So we're going to take a look at 6 of the ones we offer here, and maybe you'll start to see for yourself that, mysteries aren't just clear cut like we think they are. So let's get started. The first one is the great Shelby Holmes. So Shelby Holmes is in 6th grade and she's living in Harlem in New York City. When a new family moves into Shelby's building, she meets John Watson, who is also her age, but she thinks he's kind of a little strange and different. When Shelby is asked to find a missing dog, John decides he's gonna tag along, and soon he's a great asset to this investigation, more so than what Shelby ever could have thought or imagined. And they decide they're gonna work this case together. Not only is he great on the case though, Shelby, they kind of start to develop this friendship as they are trying to solve the crime of this missing dog. And that's probably the best thing that comes out of this, is this amazing friendship, and they just become accepting of each other. They get past their first differences, and even with all of their faults and quirks, it works. This is based on the classic Holmes series. This book is, again, more about mystery, even though it is integral to this whole plot. But it's also about making friends, friendship, and not judging people initially by your first impression. This is the first in a series. This is the great Shelby Holmes. Last Chance Hotel. So Seth is stuck working at the Last Chance Hotel, and he works as a kitchen boy after his father has passed away. And his father was the chef there, and he was this amazing chef. The hotel owners and their daughter are horrible and cruel people, and Seth just hopes that he can just live through it. He can get to the point where he can leave and he can go find a job somewhere else to be a chef, just like his dad was. One evening, there is this famous group of magicians who are staying at the hotel, and they are going to eat dinner there, and Seth is asked to make a special dessert for them to end their meal. So he makes this special dessert, and as they're eating it, one of the famous magicians drops dead. And Seth is accused of murder because, well, this magician ate this dessert, and now he is dead. So Seth must have done something to the dessert. Seth knows that's not what happened though, but no one believes him, so it's going to be up to him to prove his innocence. This story completely takes place in this hotel. It doesn't take place anywhere else. Everything takes place in this hotel. And it's almost like, the classic Clue game or an Agatha Christie murder. So if you like a classic murder mystery, but maybe with a touch of magic, because this one definitely has some magic in it, this is the Last Chance Hotel. What's his face? So Cooper is used to moving around and having to go to new schools, and because of how many times he's had to move schools, being an army brat, he's basically invisible, and he's really okay with it being that way. So as a gift on the first day of 7th grade, to try to, ease things a little bit about being at another new school, his parents give him this brand new cell phone. And he starts to act kind of weird, and it's glitching and all sorts of things. And Cooper quickly learns that his phone is actually haunted. Like, there's a ghost inside his phone. And this ghost name is Roddy, and he's from 1596, and he claims he is the original author of the play Romeo and Juliet, and that Shakespeare stole it from him. So when Roddy finds out that Romeo and Juliet is going to be, performed, by people at Cooper's school, he thinks this is a perfect opportunity that he makes Cooper join this play And then it just gets even worse from there, because not only does Cooper not want to be in the play and he's not really talented at it, but then this girl he's kind of liking is also in the play. And to top everything off, the mystery comes in because Roddy wants Cooper to try to steal the original manuscript of Romeo and Juliet, but it's in the house of this multi-millionaire, and Cooper doesn't know what he's supposed to do because Roddy thinks if he can find this original manuscript, it's going to prove that he is right. This is filled with mystery, but also there is a ton of humor. So if you love to laugh out loud, this is a great pick. And there are, so many realistic middle school situations. It's a lighthearted mystery, but it's so enjoyable, and you will be along for the ride with a ghost living in a cell phone. This is What's His Face? How I Became a Spy. So 13-year-old Bertie is living in London. It's 1944, World War II is still going on, and he is so excited because he has just become a volunteer for the Civil Defense. It is his job to carry messages around the city, but also he needs to help people find the closest air raid shelter when there's an air raid taking place. It is his job to get people to safety. He's out all night because you don't know when these raids are going to happen. Usually they do happen at night. So one night he is on patrol and Bertie's riding his bike and he accidentally runs into this girl. And she gets knocked down, but she gets up quickly and leaves as he's trying to apologize to her. But then he quickly notices that there's this notebook left laying on the ground where she was. So being a little nosy, he decides he's gonna open it up and he starts reading it, and something's not quite adding up. Like part of it is, notes, and then other parts of it are in this like weird secret code. Bertie then goes to his two best friends and they're looking at this notebook and they finally figure out that the girl Bertie accidentally ran over is a secret agent for Nazi Germany. And this notebook is containing all of the notes that she's going to bring back to the German army. And they decide they need to try to crack this code or cipher the code so they can try to figure out what exactly she knows and what information is she trying to pass on. Because I'm going to tell you this without giving too much away, the information she's trying to pass on could literally change the course of World War II from how we now know it. You'll be trying to figure out the code as well at the same time as Bertie and his friends. If you love World War II, if you love a good historical mystery, you need to read How I Became a Spy. Okay, The House in Poplar Wood. So I will start by telling you this. This book gets a little complicated. It's kind of abstract in its thinking. So if you like to read a mystery that's a little challenging and can be kind of hard to wrap your brain around, this might be a good choice. So there are some magical weird things taking place in the town of Boone Ridge, Tennessee. In a house on the outskirts of town, there are two twins who live there, but they have to live on completely opposite sides of the house. Each serve their parents, so their parents can't even interact because their parents have very unique jobs and roles. Felix helps his dad. His dad is also known as Death. And Lee lives with his mother on the other side of the house, and she's also known as Memory. Both Felix and Lee are expected to take over for their parents when they get older. No one in the family is happy with this arrangement, but it was forced upon them as a punishment because Death and Memory are not supposed to be together. One evening, though, Felix and Lee are approached by a new girl named Gretchen, and she believes that a fellow student who everyone says just died was actually murdered. And she wants to know if Felix and Lee are willing to help her out solving this crime. And she makes them a deal. If you can help me solve this crime and prove that it was murder, she will help put their family back together again. So this dark mystery has some supernatural elements. It can be confusing at times, but it is well worth the read. This is The House in Poplar Wood. And our last one is Premeditated Myrtle. So 12-year-old Myrtle Hardcastle does not want to become a proper young lady as she's expected to do. Instead, she really enjoys observing people. So one night she's upstairs in her room spying on the next door neighbor. And Myrtle is quite sure that the cranky Miss Woodhouse did not die from natural causes, but she is a victim of foul play. So no one believes her naturally because, Myrtle's 12 years old, and what does she know? So Myrtle decides it is going to be up to her to not only determine the cause of death, but also to find the murderer and figure out the motive. And she eventually gets surrounded by a cast of characters who support her endeavors. This is set in Victorian England. It's part historical fiction. It is part mystery. If you like a classic whodunit, this is a great choice to check out. It's the first in a series. We do have the second one already, Premeditated Myrtle. So these are just 6 of the totally, completely different mysteries that we have here at Bowman Library. So we encourage you to come on down, either check out one of these, or we are here to help you find that perfect mystery that you are just dying to read. I hope you have a great week, and I hope you tune back next week when we have a whole new middle grade book spotlight.